Right, news coming in on honey worries, on how the levels of antibiotics in honey could be way higher than what's permissible.
Now, a study by the Center of Science and Environment shows that honey contains high levels of antibiotics, much more than the permissible limits for export. All the popular brands have been found to have abnormally high levels of antibiotics. Permissible levels of oxytetracycline for export is 10 micrograms per kg, but Dabur honey is found to have 9 times that. It's 250 micrograms per kg for Khadi honey and 27 micrograms per kg for Patanjali. Antibiotics mixed with sugar syrup is reportedly used as growth promoters in the industry, and that is supposedly how it gets passed on to honey. But the worry is that there are no standards set for antibiotic content in honey in India. Joining me on the phone line for more on that is Smriti Advani. She's joining me from New Delhi. Smriti, the first obvious question, what are antibiotics doing in honey?
Well, that's exactly what the CSE has been trying to understand. In fact, what they're seeing is that a lot of these, the bee growers are in fact using honey to actually promote the growth of bees and ensure that they produce more honey. So in fact, it's being used as a growth stimulator, but what they are trying to say is that the kind of antibiotics that they are using in bees should be different from the ones that humans consume, because this in a way, once the bees are injected with antibiotics, so they need to consume antibiotics, it's then passed on to humans, which can then pose a real health hazard.
Right, and Smriti, what kind of impact would this have on those consuming honey? How worried should people be according to this report?
Well, Vera, it's very similar to the recent worries that we've had about the superbug, where Indians have had prolonged exposure or excessive exposure to antibiotics, which isn't good in any case. It's unhealthy for anyone to be consuming such a large dosage of antibiotics on a day-to-day basis. In fact, honey is something that most Indians would have at their breakfast table every day, and it is worrying indeed that there is such a large amount of antibiotics found in many of the popular brands that we're consuming, and the fact that the government doesn't really have any safety standards when it comes to honey being sold in the domestic market as compared to what they allow for export.